Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is known as the Transformation Coach. Please help give a warm welcome for Jay Classen.
Thank you. Thank you. In the last year, I've been to California 4 times. I've been to the Caribbean twice. I've been to New York City, and I even got the opportunity to spend a month in Belize. I've been living my dream life. But it wasn't always that way. Only a year ago, I found myself asking, is this as good as it gets? You see, 10 years ago, I wound up getting a divorce, and I wound up throwing my kids into a life of separated family. And it was a world that was completely foreign to the way I grew up. And I went for years with tremendous guilt. And I found myself asking, there's got to be more to life than this. I went on to study what makes people happy. And what I discovered was that to be happy and successful, you have to get really uncomfortable. And to get really uncomfortable, you need to lean towards your truth. And what do I mean by truth? And what do I mean by getting uncomfortable? How do we be uncomfortable to be happy? That kind of doesn't make sense. It's a contradiction. Well, all I really mean by that is figuring out what your life purpose is. And sometimes your truth can be uncomfortable, and leaning towards your truth can be uncomfortable. And it just means pushing through and getting through some of the fears to live the life that you truly are. Now, once upon a time, this would have been my biggest fear, standing up here before you. But I knew it was the truth I had to go towards to move towards the life I really wanted. And the divorce in itself, I wasn't happy. I knew something had to give, and I had to lean into the truth that I wasn't happy and make that uncomfortable decision to leave. And there's many people out there that have jobs, careers, businesses that they're in that perhaps they're really not happy with. I'm sure there's lots of people here that have had to make that really uncomfortable decision to leave the job that's supporting their family, paying the mortgage, paying the car payment. They have so much at stake, but they have to make that vital decision to leave and go on to another job. Unfortunately, most people are just going off, trading one job for the other, and not really, truly going towards the life they really want. I started to study what was making people happy, and I was getting little wins here and there, but I also realized I needed some help. I made a really uncomfortable decision to hire somebody to help me. I had to fork out $10,000 for somebody to guide me and bring me to where I wanted to be. I remember that day very clearly. That was clearly very uncomfortable to do that, but I knew it was what I had to do to get to where I wanted to be. Now, one of the very first things I had to do was create a vision for my life. And I was asked, what do you really, really want? Don't do something you know how to do, and don't do something you've always done or think you know how to do. What do you want? What do you really, really want? What do you dream of? And I thought, wow, I've always wanted to travel more. I've always wanted to live from the beach. And I think in hindsight, it was more of an escape mechanism to want to go live by the beach. But at the time, that's what I envisioned, and that's what I really wanted. But it wasn't something I ever thought completely tangible or anything I can really do. But the moment I started to write this out and see it, I felt it. I felt like, why can't this be me? I can do this. Why can't I work abroad and live from the beach? But I started to go back on the old question, is there more to life? I started to go back to the conditioned thinking that I had had from the previous 10 years of, where is all this going? What's the point in life? I had so much purpose as a family man, waking up every day and getting the kids to school and living the dream that I thought was my dream at the time, that I was still being reminded that I wasn't fully fulfilled. So I went on to discover my purpose and why I'm here. And I actually got on a plane and went to the beaches of Santa Monica. And I sat there and I wrote the story of Jay. What makes Jay tick? Who is he? What makes him happy? What makes him sad? What are all the common denominators of Jay? What's the glue here that brings everything together? And what I discovered was that all I've ever tried to do is help people. And all I've ever tried to do is inspire people. So I figured out that my purpose here was to inspire others, because when I get really passionate about something, I've got to let everybody know. That's happened through health and through nutrition and whatnot. However, I realized that I can take this gift and now marry it with my vision and create a life of helping others and being able to coach others. And that would allow me to bring the business to the beach. And now the fun began. So I realized that I had to become that person first. Through my training and through my studies, I started to realize the impact of positivity in my life, and really coming down to attracting the life that I wanted. And I really discovered that I was who you become is the sum of the 5 ideas that you hang out with the most. The ideas that I had in my mind became ever consuming, and I created new discipline and habits every single day to bring me towards this vision and goal. And understanding my purpose didn't allow me to get off track. You can sway a little bit in and a little bit out, but I knew if I'd just gone back to the way things were, to my comfort zone, that I was never going to get the life I wanted. I knew I had taken such a giant leap forward, knowing that what my purpose here was to do, that there was no way I was going to be able to get off course with this. And that stays to this day. Over the course of the year, I've had so many people reach out to me and say, "What are you doing? How are you living this life? We know who you were before, and this isn't you now. You've undergone a transformation. Tell me more, tell me more." And of course, because I want to help and inspire other people, I naturally just started spewing out all the information that I wanted to learn. And as I realized pretty quickly that was pretty unproductive if you actually want to make money in this business. But being who I am, I still wound up doing that. And I remember one lady, she came to me with the same story. She says, "I feel like I've come from the same background. I don't know why I'm here, where I'm going, what I'm doing. I'm anxious. I'm really not that happy. And I want what you have." And I said, "Okay, I have a transformation program that we can sign up for." And she was already somewhat enlightened, had already been doing some studies on her own, and she gave me her credit card number, and it declined. Now, she had a very misguided view of how the laws of attraction work, because she saw that as a sign that this was not meant to be, and walked the other way, and she said, "I got to listen to the universe right now, and I can't do this." 3 months later, she comes back and says, "I can't afford this, but I want some more information out of you." Of course, I naturally give, "Here, try this and try that." But she had never invested herself into it. And she wasn't willing to do the work that was absolutely necessary to get to where she wants to be. And I can tell you, a year later, things haven't changed. I see the social media posts. However, I have another client, Julie, a client who did give me her credit card number, and it did go through. And she has put in the work. And I can tell you, 3 months later, she's gone from the career that she was in for 25 years, and she's now made the shift into the life that she's always wanted, and now in the midst of creating the business that she's always wanted. She has more time for her kids, and she's actually in a relationship now that seems to be on a positive momentum. She says her life has completely changed. So I ask everybody, are you living the life that you want, or are you living the life that you think you're supposed to have, that was created for you? If this resonates with you, and you feel like you're saying to yourself, "Is this as good as it gets?" I'd love to have a conversation with you. You can find me on my website at jclassen.com. Thank you.